Welcome to Work from the Inside Out, a podcast that highlights real life stories, practical strategies, and best practices for transitioning your career from unhappiness and dissatisfaction to fulfillment, meaning, and joy. Now, here is your host, career and executive coach, Tammy Guler-Loeb.
Hey everyone, I am delighted to introduce my guest today, Ken Corigliano, also known across the land as Air Force Ken, and he is joining us today from his home office in Independence, Michigan. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you for having me. I absolutely feel welcome, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
So, Ken, as you know, on Work from the Inside Out, we love to begin at the beginning and talk about your formative years and how they may or may not have informed where you are today. But we're going to take a stroll through your life and would love to start in the early years. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, sure. So, the influence of the early years can't be understated. I have a great mom, and she just poured love on all of us kids, and we were always surrounded by other kids, even kids from other parents, cousins, exchange students. They were all over the place, and we always went places. And so I quickly realized the value of not only just community and
Mhm.
having a strong social network, but integrating nature and our existence into what we do. And I was very thankful for that. My dad was extremely hardworking, could make money out of anything, and he provided for all of us. And no matter who was over in the house, they had food and even a place to stay if they needed. So that was a tremendous influence over me to just see the power of love. And my mom she should be sainted. Just the unequivocal and boundless amount of love and acceptance that she had was awesome.
Mm, sounds lovely. Where did you grow up in the same place or move or?
Yeah, so basically South Florida, so just south of Tampa in the Sarasota, Bradenton areas
Oh, okay.
where I grew up. A lot of people are familiar with that. They
Yeah.
vacation or their grandmother lives there,
Right.
So
Right. Right. A little different from Michigan, though.
yeah, yeah, a lot different actually. Everything is different.
Right, right, right. It sounds delightful. It sounds like you were surrounded by lots of family, but also just an eclectic group of people and a lot of positive energy. So take us forward from there. Where did you go from Florida?
Yeah, sure. So since we're outside so much, I was running around outside, climbing over things, doing all that stuff. So keep that in mind for later of
Okay.
owning jungle gyms and climbing trees and all that stuff. So when I became older, my siblings were much older than I
Oh,
am. So I didn't really connect all that much with them. They
oh,
being 7, 8 years, 9, 10 years older than I was.
oh, wow.
Uh, I still pretty much am an only child in that respect,
Mm.
and so but with a big social network, so I kinda got both sides of it.
Yeah.
We had at the t my parents got divorced.
Mm.
All the kids moved out of the house. They did their own thing. One brother went to the Army, other brother went become a professional up in New York, psychologist, and my sister went to the East Coast of Florida to do her thing. Shortly after that, my sister dies,
Oh my
and,
goodness.
during the time between the divorce and the death, my parents were just kind of like sort of like all over the place. My mom just was like, I need a new change. And so she found a friend who was awesome and she drove trucks, semi trucks, mainly full of orange juice and things and driving across the country. So I was basically left to my own kind of devices. And so I hung out with a cousin. I couch surfed before it was a cool website. I found myself a couple times not having any place to live. And so
Wow.
that was a big deal trying to struggle and seeing other people eat, in front of me. And I was hungry. And so that was a big deal. And we can shelve that, that influence for later as well.
Mm.
But shortly after Michelle died, I went back and saw the recruiter who was in my class just a few months before, where I was a total disaster. I actually got expelled from multiple high schools. I actually got expelled from an entire county during those years of parents' divorce to Michelle passing. I was just a wreck,
Yeah.
rebelling everywhere. So when she passed, I went to go see that recruiter who really embarrassed me in front of my class because I was a moron. I was acting out, and he was very handsome, sharp dude, very intelligent dude. He knew exactly what he was dealing with when he met me.
Hmm.
So that is the next sort of like the next era of what happens in my life.
So I just want to step back for just a moment, and I often do this with my guests because they fast forward through what are many years of their lives. So as a younger child, it sounds like you were surrounded by community and people and lots of love, and then things started to unravel. It sounds like, and that happens in people's lives. It's not it sounds extraordinary in terms of the experience you had, and there you were, it sounds like in your teenage years, and you were kinda left on your own, and between being an adolescent on top of kind of not having as much of a home base, you naturally would be acting out. I'm curious, what drew you to go back to this recruiter who had pretty much humiliated you, it sounds like? What drew you to that person?
So when I went to the funeral of my sister,
Yeah.
all of us brothers were thought that we were going to be the one in the coffin first. With my brother being in the army,
Oh.
my other brother had a terminal illness at one point,
Oh my goodness.
and then me just being a moron, right? So breaking laws and doing dangerous things and being violent and everything. And so we were all just like, of all of us morons, the most beautiful, precious one of us is here. And it was a mind-altering kind of experience that still 30 years later, I'm very choked up about it. And
Sure.
at 17, having gone through this traumatic experience of losing my family structure and this beautiful environment
Right.
of, awesomeness, man, my brain just totally like rewired. And I was like, man, I'm gonna die at some point. Like, what do I have to show? I have nothing to show. And is exactly what the recruiter said, was like, he basically was like, you're a parasite on society, and you are sucking the life out of the world, taking and never giving. Our service is of giving. Matter of fact, our number one core value is service before self, or as a integrity first, service before self. It's right under integrity. And I was just like, man, I need that.
Mm.
Like, I gotta have that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm totally hosed.
Wow.
Totally
You
hosed.
recognize that at that young an age, even though you were a mess.
Yeah, that defining life experience of death and ending and not being able to kind of rectify that just rewired. I mean, just I was a different walking out of there. I was a different person. Just no one's gonna like. It started the ball of who I am, like rolling down the hill of like take no prisoners
Yeah.
kind of attitude. It, I was like, I have so much time. Like I had a 1.2 GPA, you
Uh-huh.
know, I was a loser. And I was like, I might not even graduate high school. Like this is terrible. I just finally realized like I am so stupid. Like this is stupid. So that's when Calvin Douglas, my recruiter, was like, yeah, you got a lot of work to do, buddy. And he pointed out there was a high school in North Fort Myers that was experimenting with college credits during high school years. It's one of the first ones ever. Now it's a standard thing.
Uh-huh.
But in 98, like 97, like nobody heard that. And
Yeah.
so I was getting kicked out of Manatee County. And so I went down to Fort Myers, and man, I took 12 classes. Like I did as much as I could, and I got A's in every single one of them.
Wow.
Like I was like, no, no way. I'm like, and then I worked too, and I drove back to Bradenton from North Fort Myers to attend the recruiting calls from him. So I stayed in his delayed enlistment program because I loved him so much.
Wow.
Yeah, he became
Wow.
like a dad for me for a
Yeah.
while. Basic things,
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was a huge turning point.
Oh yeah. The turning point
Yeah.
was, thank God this dude. By the way, a lot of recruiters are slugs, right? I mean, not
Uh,
all of them, but sign the paper, show up this day, ship
is
out. I mean, he taught me how to fold my clothes. He taught me how to be a man. I mean, I'm nothing without that guy. And there
wow.
was other people like my cousin who let me stay at his house. Charlie Niemeyer, like he helped. I mean, like without these people, like, I mean, I don't know where society would be.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. I mean, it's not great that you got to that point, but it's great to hear that it's like a light bulb went on over your head and you took advantage of what was available to you. And
Yep.
so clearly you graduated high school.
Yeah, actually, what was crazy is that was like January 98,
Mhm.
and I stayed in there for a year, and then I went down to North Fort Myers. I transferred schools that next summer,
Mhm.
and I actually graduated early. Like I made up 3 years of college, 3 years of high school during the summer and fall of North Fort Myers and graduated. Like I think I got by the way, this was before data, like hard drives and internet. Like these counties did not talk to each other. So
Yeah.
they didn't realize I had a 1.2 GPA. So
Ah, I
I
see.
had a 4.0 at North Fort Myers. Like I had a 4.0. And when I graduated, they went to Manatee and got my records, and they're like, we'll just take a few of these. It was very nice. My guidance counselor was awesome. They did a little bit of fuzzy math, and so I actually got a really good GPA graduating high school. But yeah, I did 6 months early because I was shipping out in June of '99. So I went back to Bradenton to be with my mom and dad before I shipped out.
Uh-huh. And so you listed? Am I getting that right?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no way I was becoming an officer. No way.
I don't know. It sounds like you were on quite the trajectory at that point. So you enlisted in the Air Force. Am I getting that right?
Yep.
Did you have a choice what you enlisted in?
So yeah, but no. So when I went in, I spoke with Calvin first, and he was just like, look, I want you because you're a human body, but I don't need you. Like I remember you. And he is like, you need to go talk to the army first. And so I was
Oh,
like, okay.
really? Oh,
Oh
interesting.
yeah, yeah. So I went to the army, went to the Navy, and when I went to the army, they were like, oh yeah, no problem, but we can't they bend people in their ASVAB scores, and I actually cheated on my ASVAB, which is the Armed Services Entry
Oh,
exam.
okay.
At the school I was at, nobody cared about anything. I was a huge minority there, and the school it was not well run. Like they put us in a barbed wire fence to eat lunch in during the days, and like there were fights every day. I thought I was gonna be killed like every day. So when we all did the test, nobody enforced anything. So like 5 of us got together and we all did the test together. And so with 5 of us being smart, like, 5 dumb people are better than 1 dumb person, right? So I actually got a pretty good score on the ASVAB, and so the Army's like, "Look, we can't we enter people based on their scores, and since yours is higher, we can only put you in certain fields." And I was like, "Okay." And so they're like, "That we can't get you in until, like, December." And I was like, "Well, I'm not, like, waiting for that." So I went to the Navy, and they'd said basically it's a similar thing. So I went back, and Air Force takes a lot of high test scores, and so he's like, "So what'd you find out?" And I was like, "I will wait. Like, I want you." And so, I kinda had a choice, but not so much, but it is a funny story, and thank
Yeah.
God. just out of weird isms, I didn't join the Army, or the Navy.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
So take us forward from there.
Yeah. So I was on a rampage. So went basic training and knew that like if I failed out of that, like life was over. Recruiter was like, McDonald's doesn't hire dishonorably discharged people. So you're totally host. So there was like no way I was going to be like kicked out of there. So survived through basic training. And then I told them there, I was like, just give me the worst job. Like, just give me something that there is nothing worse than that. And they were like, aircraft mechanic. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And by the way, one of the
That's the
guys I
worst
cheated.
job.
Well, according to whoever I was speaking to, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this guy, whatever their opinions are. And so the guy I cheated off of was a car mechanic. And so my scores on the mechanical section were off the chart. I think I got like a 95. And so he's like, yeah, so the worst one for you is that you would survive in as aircraft mechanic. And I was like, damn, Frank. So he's the guy that helped me. So yeah, I became an aircraft mechanic, grease monkey dude, right? Which is actually pretty killer job. Within a few years, like I was just crushing it. Like I was rated #1. I got professional of the year, got enlisted, got junior enlisted of the year. Like I was just racking them all up. I had a really killer supervisor, Bill Russo, still a great friend to me today, who just really helped me professionalize myself, told me read the regulations, read the tech data because nobody wants to do that. And you'll be smarter than everybody else if you just read the damn manuals and guidance and stuff. He's like, you'll be even smarter than the people who are in charge of enforcing them because people who are in charge of forcing them don't even want to read. And so you can shelve that for later too. But so yeah, it was awesome. He was just pivotal in my professionalism. And September 11th happened just a few years after I joined. I
Yeah.
was joining in 99. And like I was just like made for this moment. I mean, like, and by the way, the aircraft that I got put on, because I was on a rampage, I got the special operations infiltration and exfiltration aircraft, MC-130E Combat Talon, which is a badass plane designed to fly in under radar, past enemy lines, and drop off special operations forces to like infiltrate and take over. I mean, it was designed to fight the Taliban. I mean, it was just perfect. So I deployed on a couple missions, got some things that happened. I was able to save the aircraft in the mission, and I got put in for a Medal of Heroism. And while I was on the plane flying back from the mission, which is a long ass flight, it's like 8 or 10 hours, I actually got put in to become an officer by the commander of Air Force Special Operations Command, which is pretty cool. So that bridges the gap between enlisted to becoming an officer, going to college to become an officer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was cool.
It sounds like too, I tend to reflect back and then look forward and I'm thinking, here's this, air quotes kid who was a mess, who, had every good reason to kind of want to rebel and kind of be angry at the world, who then decided to listen to these well-intentioned adults, I guess, and really followed what they were telling him and followed the party line, so to speak, but did it thoughtfully, it sounds like. And it took you to places that clearly you were satisfied enough going to, 'cause I got the feeling that even every step of the way, you weren't just doing what you were told, you were also thinking as you were doing these things. Was that
Yeah,
true?
yeah, you nailed it. And my recruiter was big on that. He's just like, you need to listen to your elders because they've already gone through the path. Why would you waste time doing it yourself? And to this day, 2025 and 45, every time someone gives me advice, I listen and I do it.
Yeah.
And man, that's just so many people don't do that.
Well, but it sounds like you also think on your own feet too. It's a combination of building in the experience you have with listening to other people as well.
Yeah, I think with like knowing that I was dumb and making dumb decisions, and then the combination of basic training where they just kind of rip us apart and build a new person. I'm okay with any day of the week dying to myself of for my values and all culture to become a better version of me. I have no problem doing that. So I think on my feet and I absorb. And when I interact with people who are smarter or more clever, more experienced, like I'm bringing all of that in and coupling it with who I am.
Mm-hmm. And I might even argue with you a little bit and say maybe you made some dumb decisions, but I have a hunch you're not dumb.
Wow, you can make a good decision with a bad outcome every day of the week. So I try to I try to have good decisions with good outcomes, but it doesn't happen
Well,
each time. So
so take us forward from there. You went to college and you became an officer.
yeah, college was awesome. So one of the viral videos I have online was the story of me saving one of the airplanes. So people can look that up at the American Veterans Center. That's
Right.
hilarious. Actually in my underwear on a plane. So
We'll
that's
we'll
a good,
make sure to put that in the show notes.
yeah, that's great. The second one is my story of how I got accepted into St. Leo University because I was over in Uzbekistan on a satellite phone. This was before internet was like a big thing, right? And so there's a 7-second delay from my phone to the other end. So, like, I'm calling universities in the summer and no one's picking up the phone because it's the
Right.
summer. Whoever
Right.
picks up the phone is like the B team, right? Like, so I'm trying to get accepted into a university with, by the way, like not the best high school transcripts, right, from wherever, but with the 7-second delay. So I accidentally dialed the president of the university's phone number because of the delay. One of the digits fell. I had to put in a calling card number. It's a disaster. You can look it up. But and he's like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm in Uzbekistan. I'm just trying to get, I got a scholarship. I'm trying to get accepted into university." And he's like, "Okay, sure." Just send us your information, and like it's the best ever. So St. Leo was a huge influence. Man, they are such a great place. Benedictine Catholic. I was not practicing anything, so
Yeah.
it was really helpful for me to find and explore faith in on
Mm,
all the religions because they are Benedictine. We do them all.
yeah.
That was great. And I did research for the first time. I was older than everybody else. I didn't take anything from anybody because I was older, stronger, and I was ex special operations. And I was not messing around with my scholarship. I got 4.0s on everything. And President's Club, 8 rounds, Dean's Club, 8 rounds. So it's all 4 years. It was awesome. And I got accepted into the governor of Florida's gubernatorial fellowship program. So I became a fellow my junior year, which was
Uh-huh.
awesome. So yeah, like it was like I was kicking butt and taking names there as well. Joined the cross country team, created the swim team and the triathlon club. So it was good. It was good times.
Sounds like there was no sleep happening while you were there. It sounds like you were pretty busy.
Nah, up like 5:30 in the pool, then do cross country workout, and then study and then do ROTC stuff as well. To drive an hour to University of South Florida from St. Leo to do my ROTC stuff 4 times a
Wow.
week.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like I wasn't messing around.
And so you were a student for how long at St. Leo's?
All four. Yeah,
Oh,
St.
4
Leo.
years.
Yep, I graduated with a dual bachelor's. Yep,
What did you study?
I did international relations and political science.
And so then you went back to the Air Force after that.
Yep, I commissioned as an officer on my birthday, my graduation day, and my commissioning day was all the same day, which was great. And yeah, I became the intel officer for the 89th Airlift Wing, which is the home of Air Force One. So after Intel school, I graduated from college, went to Intel school, and then worked with the Presidential Airlift Group and the rest of the Airlift Wing over there as the Intel officer, which is cool
Oh,
because I was on National Geographic for George Bush, Jeb's older brother.
uh-huh.
Yeah, it
Uh-huh.
was cool.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So how long were you in that assignment?
They're typically 2 to 3 years, so I did 3 years there, and that's when I also got fairly serious about triathlon and competing.
Oh,
Yep. So when I started the triathlon club at St. Leo, I couldn't even swim across the pool, which is great, and I couldn't run a half a mile. I actually got suspended from ROTC because when I came back from Afghanistan, they administered a fitness test, and I failed the fitness test. I started walking at a half a mile, and they disenrolled me and sued me for the tuition, and that was scary. So I was like, I am never not going to be fit ever again because that was embarrassing having an air medal pinned on me and then 2 weeks later being disenrolled from the program. That
wow.
was rough. Yeah, that was rough. Very embarrassing. And so
How did you reverse that?
so essentially I was like, I am never going to be unprepared for a situation ever again. And I studied Alexander. What I did was I studied dudes who looked like me, like body shape and function, in across those three sports, and I just emulated their form and all their workouts. I just did what they did, and then I worked out with the fastest swimmers, the fastest runners, and the fastest cyclists. And I would just get my butt handed to me embarrassingly for years and years until eventually like I caught up and then started passing some of them. So that's how I corrected it was I just went to the world's best to learn what they do.
And you were able to keep your scholarship and everything through that?
Oh yeah, I trained. I think they gave me like an 8-week reevaluation or
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
All I had to do is just run 2 miles without stopping.
I see.
And so you can do that in 8 weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, I see. That's so interesting though, because one myself would assume that with all that you had been doing, that you would be able to, pass a physical fitness test at that point.
The fitness test in the US Air Force way back in the day was a bicycle test with a cheesy heart rate monitor. And you just had to get your heart rate up for like, I don't know how many minutes. But people who are out of shape can get their heart rate up pretty easily,
Yeah.
and smokers and everything. So the wrong people passed it and the wrong people failed it. But no, that did not prepare me to run 2 miles. Nothing did, you know.
Yeah. Wow. So you were assigned to Air Force One for a few years and you started training for triathlons. Take us forward from there.
Yeah, I was an animal. And so when I
I've
commissioned
heard that about you.
Yeah, when I commissioned, I was like, "Okay, I only have so much youth, so I'm going to train." And, what a great story. Someone who fails a fitness test, like, becomes a great athlete. And
Mhm.
I was like, "What does it take to become an Olympian?" And those times are ridiculous, by the way. And so I was
Mhm.
like, I'll try it." And, I was like, "I just want to be good enough to be considered for the team."
Mhm.
And, man, that was hard. So I trained so hard. I got coaches on every single sport, my mind, swimming, running, biking. I actually coached the teams so that I could work out with the teams. So I
Huh.
became an assistant coach at Catholic University of America.
Uh-huh.
So I could actually work out with the kids there under the guise of being an assistant coach.
What a
Um,
creative idea.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, like, I don't like, I make it happen, so that was great, and the training was really hard, like, just really hard, and then I deployed too, and I had to be I was an officer, I had to go to work every day, so I had
Right.
to fit all this in, and then the day that I could, I started on my master's degree, so at one point in time, Tammy, I was deployed, I was training for an Olympics selection spot for triathlon, which is the toughest. I mean, probably decathlon's harder because there's so many sports, but that's a lot of sports.
It's still
Uh,
a lot.
yeah. So deployed, training for Olympic berth, and getting my master's degree while having a full-time job, all at the same time.
Somebody might say you were a little bit insane.
Oh yeah, one of those is, I mean, one of those is a lot for a normal person. just wearing uniforms a lot, being a triathlete a lot, and being deployed a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I know. I did a master's and worked full time, and that was a lot in and of itself. So I can only imagine. What did you do your master's in?
International affairs.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. So how did that all go for you?
It was good. Yeah, it was great. Crushed the master's degree. It was a great experience. So like 3.9 or something. I don't know, whatever. And then I trained so well that I was considered for the world-class athlete program, but I didn't make it.
Oh,
Triathlon really wasn't like a big kind of sport. Still kind of isn't. Just kind of a weird individual sport. The soccer and baseball, that kind of stuff. Those are more popular. So I didn't make that, and I frankly just wasn't good enough. My run times were just not good. My swim time was good enough. My bike time I could hang, but the runners is unreal. So trained as hard as I could, but then I got moved to Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico, which is literally in the middle of nowhere, town of like a few thousand people. I lived on a farm in a farmhouse, and I just trained when I wasn't at work, I was at work, I think every single day for the first 8 months I was there working 12-hour shifts. So I had to fit like all the training in. So I just ran to work. I was like, if I'm going to get work, I might as well run. And then the base commander just happened to be a triathlete, and his kids were triathletes. So he kept the pool open, and then I coached his kids. And so, I mean, it was killer. And so, that was great. And I got really good. And then I got deployment orders in 2011, and I was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna miss the trials. I'm not even gonna be able to show how good I am. So I need to get some points." So I signed up for St. Anthony's Triathlon in Florida, which is right down the street from my parents' house.
mhm.
So I'll go see my parents and then say goodbye. I'm gonna deploy into a war zone, go into Iraq, and see if I can get some points. All I had to do is there's like some quotes. I just had to beat a couple people, get a certain time, and I was pretty confident I could do it at that race. The day I show up, I get run over by a car.
What?
Yep. Bad too. So I went through the windshield, slid across the windshield, got 3,000 pieces of glass in my back, hit my head against the windshield, and then she slammed on the brakes, and I flew off and hit my head on the gravel, and it was lights out after that, and my bike was shredded, and forget the Olympic idea. So that was not fun. Um,
That's
I
an
lost
understatement.
everything. Yeah, I lost my ability to read. I couldn't talk. I couldn't really think, couldn't figure out things, and I couldn't really walk all that well. So, yeah.
So you were riding a bike, you got hit by a car, major injuries on many levels, major brain injury.
Yeah, thankfully, like, my executive processing didn't get affected. So that's what normal back in the day. By the way, TBI is a common household word now, but up until about 2013, 14, 15, nobody had even heard of TBI.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there were no resources. There were no physicians. There's no VA specialty in TBI. There was nothing. And so I didn't know what I had. I just knew I was messed up. And
Yeah.
I knew that if someone found out I was messed up, my career is over. Like, forget triathlon and Olympic stuff. Like, I am going to get discharged. And so man, we can go in all kinds of directions with this, but the point is the state trooper went to the morgue to find my body that day, and she found me instead in the wherever I was. And I was like, I am walking out of this building today. Like, that's what's happening. And I don't care about anything else. I'm walking out. And then I was like, man, I gotta fix myself, and I have to do it in such a way that I have to do it myself, because I cannot expose these problems to the Department of Defense and my supervisors and all this other stuff. And by the way, remember, I have deployment orders.
Right. Right. No, that's what I'm wondering about. What happened?
I still had to deploy. So there was nobody else. We don't have like backups, and I mean we have the ability to pull people in, but then they have 2 days notice, and like, it's disaster. And so if I knew that there's a potential, like deploy, fine, or I fall apart and everything goes bad, deployment, and then I get kicked out, or I just say I can't deploy and then I get kicked out. This was certainty. This is less certain. So I was like, I'll just deploy and see if I can figure it out. So that was
So
tough.
between the accident and the time you deploy, I mean, you said I'll walk out of here today. Were you in the hospital for some period of time? I mean,
So, no, I mean, like, the ERs, unless you're, like, you need amputation or, like, whatever, I mean, like, they kick people out pretty fast, and so, especially if you have some kind of executive functioning level, they don't know what you were when you went in there, so they probably thought I couldn't speak when I went in or, whatever, and so, they knew that, like, this guy's not gonna die, he needs to go. So, they kicked me out. I did take 2 steps. And so I took 2 steps into my mom's car, and, she took me to my dad's house, and he took care of me for a while before I was forced to fly back to my home base, Cannon.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then deploy a few days later. Oh
I
god.
I'm just can't imagine that.
That was awful. Recover from a brain injury in a freaking war zone with mortars and, like, kidnappings and, like, I mean, like, it's just the worst. This is
Well,
the worst.
although I would imagine that since I don't know that you had you ever been in a war zone like that before, how would you know the difference?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, all I know is,
Maybe
like,
maybe if you were less cognizant, maybe you were better off in some ways.
yeah,
I'm saying that glibly, I don't really mean that, but, you know, but you were also an officer, so you must have had people under your command too that you had to direct and, um, make sure things were done a certain way, although you said your executive functioning wasn't affected, which is probably key to how you managed.
yeah. I mean, I knew procedurally what to do, right? Like,
It's
I could
amazing.
click things, but as far as, like, regulating my bodily processes, that was out the window. And so hiding the fact that I couldn't control just going to the bathroom was insanely hard, and
Wow.
not being able to read I mean, just trying to hide that for 7 years was off the charts difficult.
7 years.
Yeah, until I was on peptide therapy, I still could not read like I used to. I mean, the day before I got hit, I read like 200 pages of neuroplasticity book. Like I read 3 books a week. Like I was crazy to nothing for 7 years. Yeah.
So how did you and that's a little beyond fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot from those years, but
Uh,
I do remember like writing things down and trying to remember and then like having just people help me. I was just like, "Hey, can you think you can do like my travel voucher for me? Like just help me. I'm kind of like busy and what is the regulation for this thing?" And so like I got in trouble. I couldn't avoid it. Like I got in trouble quite often
yeah.
just with some things,
Mm.
documentation and leave,
And
and other stuff that I just couldn't read, I just couldn't do
but
it.
you were able to muddle through.
Yeah, I did. It's surprisingly low standards in the military, so I was able to get through even as an officer, I was able to get through,
That's
uh,
amazing.
faking it, yeah.
It's a good thing you weren't a mechanic anymore though.
I know. Yeah, I was just dealing with intelligence stuff, like, so.
Oh, wow. Well, so after 7 years, you said something about peptide therapy. Were you still I were you still in the Air Force then?
Yeah, so it was becoming, like, problematic. So as I made rank, especially as a major, I hated every day of being in a major because I didn't have any, like, authority, but I had all the responsibility,
Ugh.
and So it was terrible rank. But when I made lieutenant colonel, people just buzzed off. They didn't bother with me. And so, but my abilities were a little bit easier to detect. Like the problems were a lot easier to detect as a lieutenant colonel, because it's like you should probably know what this regulation is, and be able to understand, like, and then why did you do your leave form wrong? Like that's not what people do. And so like the ramifications were way worse as a lieutenant colonel. And I was like, this is like I'm gonna get in trouble. Like this is not good. Like this
Mhm.
is something's gonna break here, and it's gonna be me. And like I could have legal issues. Like I don't know, you know.
Mhm.
But I went to an event at the American Veterans Center, which is one of the viral videos of me, and I met someone from Transcend company who was part of the foundation. Name's Brendan, and then the founder of Transcend, Ernie, were there, and so they heard my story, and they were like, "Dude, have you read, like, this is why we created the company. Like, have you ran your blood panels?" And I was like, "I don't think in 11 years my blood panel has been run." And so
Really? I would think the Air Force would have required some kind of regular medical workup.
if they did regular medical workup, I would have been caught. They would have seen that I would have problems. And because they didn't, and I didn't self-report, like I reported, like my spine, these things are messed up, and like things are messed up, right? And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get therapy for it and all that. And so, but the real markers where you see like my blabs came out were at 100 testosterone. 100. I don't know if that rings anything to
Doesn't
people
I
who.
don't know what would that I don't know what that means. So tell
So the
us.
the guy who calls me on the phone when my reads my blood panel was like, "So are you like in, are you like in the hospital bed? Are you like bedridden? Like, looking at your labs, what's going on?" I'm like, "No, man, I just got off the bike. I'm going for a run." Like, and he's like, "No, that's not possible. Like you're all of your markers are totally hosed." And I was like, "Oh, well, that explains a lot, I guess." And so, that's how bad. And by the way, my dad is 75. His testosterone levels were 8 8 times my testosterone levels. Just so you understand how bad that is.
Wow.
Very bad,
So
very bad.
how were you doing everything you were doing then? What was pure will?
Yeah. There.
That's something.
A lot of pain, pushing through it all.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a lot of this story, a big part of your life was pushing through.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that now. So I've been on the peptide therapy for like 3 years, and like I'm smarter, I can feel my body. I don't have brain injury symptoms anymore.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm starting to actually realize, like, how much that built inside me, like, what I am actually capable of and what I'm actually able to do, because now life is easy. Yeah, like, it's easier now,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "My god, what I," and I'm just, like, have memories of, like, I'm swimming in Saddam's pool at 1 o'clock in the morning trying to train in the middle of Iraq with a brain injury on a cord in the middle of a little pool. Like that's how dedicated I was. like, like that's nuts to think about, like how dedicated I was. So you're absolutely right. Like I'm realizing all that now.
Wow. So you realized as a lieutenant colonel you were starting to get into trouble. Was that when you started to think about stepping away or
Yeah, I knew. Like I just, I was just like, and I probably need to get help. And by the way, until 18 years, you can't get a medical retirement. And so, at 18 is when I was clear. I was just like, look, I went to the therapist, I went to the counselors, I got exams, I did everything because I knew I don't care now. At least if they kick me out, it will be with a pension. Like they'll actually take care of me.
Yeah.
Um, so the last few years were really good on like getting everything fleshed out and everything. So
Well, I was curious about once you said that you were that you said being a major, you had all the responsibility and the authority. Once you were a lieutenant colonel, you had much more authority. However, when there were some missteps, you realized that there was more of a spotlight on you at that point, and you realized you were getting into some trouble. So it sounds like there was sort of a critical point where you realized it was time to step away.
Yes. Um, at least get help. So I was trying to get help.
Yeah.
Now, when I got peptide therapy, that was when I was about 20 years, maybe like 19 years, a little bit more than 18, maybe somewhere around there. I was like, whoa, like I am awake, I'm alive, I'm doing good. And I just started killing it. I'm in the zone. I feel like when I was going for athlete of the year, I got athlete of the year, I got professional of the year, I got officer of the year. Like I was crushing it until I got hit. Until I got hit, I got nothing. Like there's just like this gap in my career, like just like, you know. And so I was like, oh my God. And I started just going boom, boom, boom. And I realized like I'm limited in the uniform. Like I can't promote to general until I have to sit in here for years. And I was like, yeah, this is stupid. Like I got to get out and like crush it on the outside. Like at least for my family and myself. Like I felt like very boxed in. Like I was just like, man, like I can do all this stuff, and like I got all these medals. Like I got the National Intelligence Professional Award. I got a bunch of awards, and I was just like, oh my God, this is gonna be good. And that's when I made the decision to retire
Mm.
and cut my teeth on the civilian sector.
I see.
I have a little guest in here, just so you know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, it's a good
Okay.
it's a good little guest.
All right. So and be
So
more
then
present with these guys.
right, right. So you're growing your own little community.
Yeah, and, being inside of a windowless, like, no phones, no outside communication building was killing me too, because
Yes.
now I was more aware and I was more present with my kids, and, like, I could realize, like, "Oh, man, I'm wasting a lot of this time, like, not being there for them." And that was another decision of, like, now that I'm me, I can be me with them
Mhm.
outside of that office that
Mm.
nobody can visit, and I can't even talk about what happens in there, you know?
Yeah. And you'd reached that you were already beyond that 18-year mark at that point too. So
Yeah,
you
so
were able to kind of take care of the things you needed to take care of financially and all that. So, um, now I don't wanna fast I'm not trying to fast forward us, but I know that you are an executive with Transcend now, and that's been for the last few years, is that right?
just over a year
Oh,
officially
okay,
battle, yeah,
okay.
uh, but I've been working with them for a while. Yeah, ever
Yeah.
since that I felt great, I was like, "Oh my god, there's something good here," you know?
So I want people to hear about that. Between the time that you retired from the Air Force and now, did you do anything else in between, or did you go right from the Air Force to Transcend?
Right in. Yeah, I even, had Transcend create a skill bridge, position so that I can intern with them for my
Oh,
last 6 months of being active duty,
oh.
and then the day that I turned into, terminal leave, I could be a W-2 with them, and so that's
Ah,
did it
I
quite
see.
clever.
And so what made you wanna work with Transcend in terms of that being, like, sort of your first entry into the private sector?
Yeah, even though I have, like, a lot of issues, one of the benefits that I got from being hit by a car is I got this thing called synesthesia, which I can see words that you say, I can taste them, I can feel them, but I do that as a cause effect. I have a really good cause effect ability as a result of this injury. Like my senses got wired together, and I can actually see and taste information and even data. And
Wow.
so, yeah, being like 13 years ago now, 14 years ago, I've really honed it in. And so that like triathlon's the hardest sport, let's do something hard. and then let's be an officer. That's the hardest thing you can do in the military. Let's do special operations. So I started picking out things that were the hardest. And so I was like, what's the hardest mental thing? Well, quantum. And so I was like, I'm going to learn quantum mechanics and quantum information sciences. And then what's the best thing you can do? Well, you can create policy. And so I actually created a congressional policy and spoke in front of a congressional delegation on quantum information sciences and all this stuff. So I have this like, what's the hardest? What's the next thing? Hypnotherapy, and then this, and then this. And so like I started nailing these, and I realized like, what's the final frontier? Well, ourselves. And I was like, what is the next hardest thing? Is being able to understand what the body does and then augment what the body does. And what the nervous system does. And that's what Transcend was doing, was being the broker between these advanced therapies and the regular person. And so they help interpret the benefits of these advanced therapies to the regular person. And by the way, they have a lot of household names as clients. And so a lot of the secrets of the greatest people on the planet were these peptide therapies, supplementation, and other techniques that I had learned being an elite athlete. So I was like, man, this is going to wrap it all up. I got the mind stuff. I got the neuroplasticity stuff. I know how to do micro mesocycles. I know how to do periodization. I know how to do mental visualization, but I don't know diddly squat about how the body and the nervous system work.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm here. Is the next hardest thing is mastering the human nervous system and the human body.
Wow.
And just happened to stumble in with them just like the rest of my life, So I literally left a decorated career to help out with the mission of connecting regular folks to these advanced things.
Wow. And and this was really the first sort of therapy or intervention of any kind that you really were open to since your accident. Is that correct?
Sort of. I mean, I got prescribed a lot. I did everything. I mean, I did melatonin. My hair was falling out. My nails were falling out. I was stressed. Like I couldn't sleep. Like I couldn't feel my body. We did everything. I mean, I did everything. I tried absolutely everything. I got so desperate. I started going to the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas to find advanced healthcare techniques. And by the way, way back then, I think it was like 2018, the healthcare area of CES was very small. Now it's half of the damn thing. I mean, it's amazing. And so
Huh.
people know that this is the final frontier. But that's where I found New Calm, which was the first company I actually bought into. And I'm an owner of neuroacoustics to turn down your stress response, turn down and modulate your parasympathetic system. And so
Nice.
yeah. So like I started learning and becoming expert at everything that I could before the peptides fell into my lap with Transcend.
Wow. Tell us a little more. I'm curious about this new calm, but tell us a little more about the peptides and about Transcend and your role there.
Yeah. So not only was like peptides and the human nervous system like the hardest thing that humans are going to master, but what's the hardest part of that? Well, it's the data, right? Figuring out efficacy, which is just a fancy term of how effective something is versus how you think it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then building an artificial intelligence model based upon that data that can then expand the knowledge access to everybody, because we only have so many people on staff, right? We can only handle so many clients.
Right.
But if we had AI that we could unload 100,000 people in a day, like, so that's what I really wanted to do. And then could we manipulate some of the peptides, combine them, or add supplementation with that? Like what would it do? And a lot of this is held inside these elite athletes and these executives' brains. Like people are not exposing their secrets, like I dose this vitamin or this supplement or this mineral with this peptide at this time before I do this kind of thing with this type of modality. I mean, if you look at that, I mean, the amount of variables in there, you take a quantum computer to figure it out. So I'm taking that in to chomp on that to see like how can when someone comes to us and they present with problems or goals, to very rapidly select a solution program with them.
And
So
and what kinds of things are people coming to you or coming to Transcend with? I understand that this has really, transformed your abilities on many levels. And I know that Transcend has a very strong connection with the veterans, but is it mostly people who are experiencing certain neurological issues, or are there other things that people are using it for?
I mean, the demographic, we have a core demographic of people who want to perform, right? And they want to look a certain way. They want to feel a certain way. We have that. That is a result of a lot of marketing and a lot of outreach. And folks who are smart on that kind of stuff are typically already performing pretty well.
Mhm.
But what the trend is, hi, I have been in and out of the medical community. I am really tired of the system. They are avatars of Ken. Like, I spent years with this thing. I get scheduled an appointment. I wait 3 months. I go there. They don't know who I am. They run the wrong tests. They say a test. They give me a prescription. I'm out the door. You know what? It's not solving my problem.
Right.
I saw on social media or the internet that someone like me with a similar symptom got help through this peptide or this hormone replacement therapy. I heard you guys do that.
Mhm.
That's what's happening right now.
Mhm.
And then the other avatar is like, I'm tired. I don't know why. I'm foggy in my brain. I don't know why, but it shouldn't be normal because I'm only 28 or 32 or 42 or 52 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not right. I need you guys to help.
Mm.
So that is where the entire Western world, especially America, is going to be in 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
Everyone's just gonna be tired. We have cognitive fog
Think we're already
and
there.
sexual dysfunction,
Mm.
and they're all related.
Mm. And just to be clear, I mean, I don't know anything about this really, but my understanding is that peptides are proteins. Is that correct?
This is great. It is a common misconception,
Okay.
but they're related. So you have amino acids. Think of
Right.
a spectrum. I think my hand's on your left or my right. I don't know. So you have protein over here. You have amino acids here. You have peptides right in the middle.
Okay.
So proteins are huge collections of amino acids. Peptides are very small
Ah.
and fairly relatively newish adoption because the technology needed to manufacture those in a safe, secure environment and to have demand is relatively new. So the regulatory environment is not good right now and needs to be kind of unscrewed so that
Mm-mm.
people can gain better access to it.
Yeah.
Because you do want a pharmacy that is professional in nature to create these things so that
Right.
you know there's no pollution and no other junk associated with it, which is very common.
Right.
Other people, not Transcend.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's helpful to hear because I know there's things out there you see. I mean, I even see like, cosmetic products that have peptides in them. I don't know what that means, and it's going to make you look younger and it's going to do all these different things, and it's how do you know what's in these things? No one really knows, but I I I'm familiar enough with Transcend to know that people are getting great benefits, and I'm not saying this to be a walking advertisement for Transcend as much as that I knew that you had a very compelling story to tell. There is one other thing that you've been doing lately, I think that would also be along the lines of not Olympic competition, but other kinds of competitions that you've been engaged in. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
American
So
Ninja Warrior, were you on? I heard about that too.
yeah. That was fun. Didn't do pretty awesome there. Only went through like a couple obstacles. It was 38 degrees, 30-mile-an-hour winds, and it was wet. So Did not do well. The earlier contestants crushed it. But that's okay. I made it. I'm very fortunate and very happy. 1 out of 50,000 that applied, only like 30 people got accepted. So I think that's my best acceptance rate. And then Ultimate Beastmaster, I crushed. That was awesome. So that's on Netflix. I'm in season 1, episodes 9 and 10. So if anyone wants to see, you can
Well,
Wikipedia me or whatever.
yeah,
I'm in there.
we'll put some links in the show notes for that. I just think it's fun for people to see the things that you've tried. It's I love, I love what you're talking about. Give me the hardest thing. It's like, well, these are the hardest things for you. The hardest things for someone else could be something completely different. But the thing that I'm taking away is, you know, that everyone sees different things in front of them that might be the hardest thing, but there's also that distinction between give me the hardest thing, but clearly you wanted the hardest thing. That's what you were asking for. And when I talk to people about their careers and their work and what's going to be meaningful to them, I think, there's a lot of people out there who start putting up the walls and the fears of, all the what ifs. And what I really appreciate about your story, Ken, is that you you did more than just push through for the sake of pushing through. At least this is the way I see it. It seems to me that you somehow instinctively you knew there was something more there for you to either prove it to yourself, and I think more to prove it to yourself that you could do more. And you wanted to test yourself, and you expected more of yourself. And you were willing to try. And I think that it serves people very well when they give themselves a chance to try something, even if it doesn't go the way they hoped it would. But there's always the opportunity to learn from whatever experiences you do have. And then from there, make other choices if you want to. But there's always that's why when you were calling things dumb, I'm thinking you learned from every one of those dumb things that you labeled dumb. And you moved on from every single one of those things, and everything led to the next thing. And from where I'm sitting, I see someone who's accomplished a tremendous amount and has moved through, and against a lot of odds, but also really enjoys the hard stuff and enjoys those challenges. And you can't fault yourself for enjoying that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when I got hit, that probably I was out. I don't think I was dead, but I did go to the other side, and
Ah, okay.
I got to see my life up to that point in the reels of seeing me through the lenses of other people. And so I got to see me through the eyes of other people. And it was only when an occasion was that I was doing something for them without any expectation of return, and it changed their life. And then I got to see their life in the future, in which still today I confirm with those people that I've seen that already, and they confirm with me.
Wow.
So I know that even though I wasn't a man of dogmatic faith, that there is something at work here. And even when I dove into quantum,
Yeah.
like all of the folks that dive in are like, something's here. But I know that, and I tell people, you're going to be dead one day. The worst feeling is to feel like in 10 years after, no one speaks about you. No one knows you were even here. And so I know that at any point in time, I'm dead. And so I want to go out with firecrackers, fireworks going out, and I fall face first on the ground.
Ah.
There's no other way to go for me because I've already been there, and I realized, like, oh my God, what the hell I've been doing? Like, I got to ramp it up, baby. And so that's what I would tell your audience, and I've come up with my own leadership concept called 7 Gates since I've been out. Like, you got to go through these 7 gates of identity and all this other stuff. And so I think it's important for us to look at ourselves and to know, like, man, Like the end is always near, and to be full of life every day, every single day.
I love that. And for whatever that means for you, right? You know, for you it's firecrackers and going out, you know, flat on your face or whatever that means. And for someone else it could mean something different, but there's still that idea that you're living life fully and not letting it just go by you. And I really appreciate that. I also know you have a book. Is that correct?
Yeah, State of Being. It's on Amazon. It's good. I'm working on State of Great, and then
Mm.
after that, State of Stress, the 3 human states. Yep.
Right. So I'm going to tell people to take a look at those as well. We're going to have all those links in the show notes. Ken, I can't thank you enough for sharing your story here today. This has been invigorating and enlightening. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure, Tammy. It's an honor, and I really appreciate it. The world's a better place because of the storytellers like you. So thank you so
Um,
much.
well, right back at you. Thanks for sticking around to the end of my interview with Ken Corigliano. What is your key takeaway from our conversation? If you are interested in any of the resources mentioned in today's podcast, you can find them in the show notes on my website at tammygoularloeb.com/podcast. Just look for episode 284. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes. Did you know that ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts can help this podcast reach more people? Please help me to inspire more people to move their careers in meaningful directions by clicking on the Apple Podcasts button. Leave an honest rating and brief review there. I'd appreciate it. Are you anticipating your next professional move? Check out my award-winning book, Work from the Inside Out. Break through 9 common obstacles and design a career that fulfills you. It's available through my website, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, independent bookstores, or through your local library. You can also help sustain this podcast by buying me a cup of coffee at buymeacoffee.com/TammyGL. Since this podcast is self-funded, your support is acknowledged and appreciated. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, it's never too late or too impossible to increase your sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in your work and other meaningful activities. Let me know how it's going for you. I'd love to hear from you. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Work from the Inside Out podcast. For more information, you can find us at www.workfromtheinsideout.com.